This is the Alloy Elite RGB keyboard from HyperX. I got it to replace my current setup, which I'm running a old Razer 2014. The switches on it are just really clicky, really loud, and not something that I want to be running while I'm streaming or making video content. So I got this to replace it. It's got the Cherry MX RGB reds on it, so much more quiet. They're linear switches, so that means no click at all. The old board has some metallic sound as well, which the mic picks up quite a bit. This will have none of that, as there's no click. So I wanted to unbox it, open it up, and then I'll do functionality as well of the board. Let's go ahead and do the unboxing here. It opens from the top, and it slides out as I rip the box. Ugh. That's a bad feeling when you rip your box. All right, so flip the top up here. Just like any keyboard packaging, it's going to be pretty similar to all that. It's a quality board. I love HyperX stuff, and this hasn't seemed like it's any different. It's high quality. We've got a braided cable here. Let me pull this out first. And the board should just kind of pop out here. Again, it's all self-contained. Cord you might have to pull the cord out a little bit. But once that's out there, it should all pop out. So I'm gonna take the peripherals off first, and then we're gonna talk about the board as it is. So I've got the board out here now. A nice board. It looks really clean. We've got a full metal backing plate here. The keys are raised, so if we pull one of these switches off here, you'll see there's nothing underneath. So there's no trough or anything like that, no place for dust to get stuck. So if you need to clean it off, you can pull all the switches off, wipe it off really easily, blow it off, and all the dust should come out easily. This also allows it to be a little bit spill proof and a little waterproof. Obviously you can't soak it, but it is spill proof and won't malfunction if you get just a little bit of water on it or something. You've got your multimedia keys here, which are awesome. Great addition to the board. Play, skip, mute, obviously. And then you've got this little volume roller bar here. This rolls up and down to set the volume. That's nice to have on the keyboard. That way you're not reaching for any peripherals to increase the volume. Especially if you don't have a volume wheel on your headset. You'll actually have to go to your computer's volume control to control that. So the roller wheel is really nice. Like I said before, it's going to be a little bit less loud than my last board. Notice the linear sound. So if I type softly, you shouldn't hear much of anything at all. But then if I really start banging on it, you're still going to get a little bit of click, but it's not going to be nearly as loud. There's no actual physical switch on them. So I'm really excited about this keyboard. I'm going to get it plugged up, and then we're going to check out all the RGB, all the peripherals. One thing I didn't mention, it's got USB pass-through. So this means you can plug up USB headset, mouse, anything like that, and that'll actually pass through to the PC itself. It's pretty great. So I'm going to get this plugged up, and we'll check out the colors. So the board does come with a few peripherals. You've got obviously a switch puller here to assist you pulling switches. This just clicks down in there and you pull it out. It's got the little ridges on the end there so it can grab one of the keys. It comes with a WASD. These are slightly textured and they're obviously a different color than the black keys that it comes with. So that calls it out. And then these 1, 2, 3, 4 keys are just a different color. They're not textured at all. They're just that silver color. And then it also comes with a wrist rest here. This is just plastic. It's a little bit textured, but really not super high quality. I don't even know why they would ship this with the board. It's kind of sad how low quality this is compared to the board itself. So this kind of brings down or at least my review just a little bit. If it was me, I would just rather it not ship. If it was going to ship with a rest, I would wish it would be a little bit nicer, maybe metal, and then also plush, like a pad here for your wrist. This is just hard plastic. It's really not going to help much at all. It may decrease the angle of your wrist a little bit, which is nice for some people, but again, for such a high price board, high quality board, I would expect a little bit more. So I've got the board plugged up now. As you notice, the lights are going. So once you plug it in, it does require that both USB ports be plugged in to power the board. But once that's plugged in, you can see a nice USB. Each of these keys are individually addressable. So that means the LED lights are actually on each switch. So you can control each one. You can set the color to whatever you want, and it also means that it glows nicely. There's no dead spots on the board, no individual lighting bars that you need to worry about. It's got several color settings that I can just change here on the board with this color setting button here on the top left. This will cycle through several. So we've got rainbow, we've got blue with my WASD 1, 2, 3, 4 keys lit up, and then we've got a full red. So those are the only 3 settings out of the board, or out of the box, excuse me. They're default settings. However, there's a really nice software package that you can download with this keyboard that allows you to address each individual key, set up more options, and then this button will just flip through 3. So you can set up your favorite 3 in the program, and it'll actually run those as you click through. So pretty basic board, pretty basic setup. This comes with either cherry reds, cherry blues, or cherry browns. All fantastic switches. Anything from cherry is going to be great. The cherry reds are really quiet. The cherry browns are also quiet, and then the cherry blues are your more clicky switch. Overall, super high quality board. I got this for around $120. You can find it on sale for a little bit less than that, but for the quality of the board, you should expect to pay at least $100. If you find it less than that, it's a great deal. Get it. Obviously, I've spent about 20 minutes with the board, not a long time, but I'm enjoying myself already, and it will be much better for my streams. I won't be bothering anyone with my clicky clackies anymore. So I'm excited about this. May post a follow-up later, but... And by later, I meant right now. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the software that comes with the keyboard as well. This is the HyperX Ingenuity software. So it's pretty limited, but it is also very straightforward and fairly powerful once you figure out what you're doing. So these are the 3 default settings on the keyboard. You've got your rainbow one that I showed off. You've got your this is the I've changed this one a little bit. This would be the blue one, but I've changed it to an FPS setup for myself. We've got some green and purple, pink, etc. And then you've got the red one, which it has a lighting effect. I realized afterwards. Each key press you do sends a color ripple throughout the keyboard, which is pretty nice. But you can change these defaults by going over here and clicking on one of these default setups, and you can actually add a new profile. When you add a new profile, it'll pop up. Got some presets here, all pretty nice. And then you can add, once you save this profile, it'll look something like this. Let's cancel this out. It'll look something like this. You can go into customize and actually change what it's doing. So you can set it to solid, breathing, wave, trigger, etc. You can also change colors to whatever RGB setup you want. So literally anything, any RGB combination that you can think of, you can choose the color here. You can look up different color combinations online and just input the numbers here as well. So pretty extensive. You can do different game modes, which disables keys. This key up here, the little G with a scope on it, sets game mode. You can disable keys. I alt tab out of a lot of things, so I don't want to disable that, but I will disable my 2 Windows keys because that can be frustrating if any of those are pushed. And then you can also set macros. So you can set macro buttons, key combinations that run a program, or a set of keys that execute, which can be pretty powerful. So the software itself is pretty powerful. I did want to talk about one issue I had, and that was when I first booted it up, it installed a firmware update, and that firmware update actually bricked my keyboard. So it froze completely. The colors stopped working. So it was just the colors were on, the RGB lights were on, but they were static. They weren't flowing at all. So I had it on this setting but instead of doing the rainbow across, it was just static. It was stuck. None of the keystrokes worked, so I couldn't type on it at all. The only thing that worked on it was the volume wheel. So what I had to do was come in here, go to settings, and actually restore to default settings, and that cleared the memory of the keyboard and allowed it to restore to default and start working again. That was a little frustrating, but it wasn't that big of a deal once I figured out how to restore defaults. Just in case that happens to you, that's how you do it. So thanks again for watching. Again, this is a fantastic keyboard. I've loved it so far. I've spent a little bit more time with it now, and I'm enjoying it a lot. I like it a lot better than my clacky one. Of course, that could just be because it's brand new rather than 6 years old, but it's high quality. HyperX has done it again. I've always been impressed with their products, and this is no different.